Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Do you see my screen? Okay, good. Okay. So then, yesterday we were discussing about different life cycle models. We will come across so many life cycle models like waterfall model, V model, agile methodology, fishbone model, prototype model, spiral model, rapid application development model, and PET process expert tool. But in all these models, famous models were like waterfall model, V model, agile methodology, and even fishbone model. Okay, so far yesterday we were discussing like waterfall model, V model, testing life cycle. Also, you can consider like fishbone model. Okay, so then remaining models. Only one model is important, that is nothing but like agile methodology. That is what, and even other models also will be discussing at the end of our manual testing. Okay, so our next topic is testing types. So before moving testing types, anybody having any questions? Any questions, anybody? So no questions means we go for starting up with testing types. So you will come across very high level, that is nothing but like white box testing and black box testing in your testing front. Excuse me. Okay. So in your manual testing front, very high level, you will come up with two types of testing. Those are nothing but white box testing and black box testing. We go for one by one. White box testing. Under white box testing, again you will come up with subtypes. So whatever is possible for today, that is what we'll try to see. Okay, so white box testing. Uh, Once developers receive SRS document and architectural documents from BA team and architectural team, what they do, and whatever the plan they come up with, they will start up with their development activities, right? So implementing the application, they will start up with, that means they will be coming up with code. So for whatever the module, what are the feature they got allocated, for that one they will come up with code. So as you aware of in your studies time, you come up with code, you yourself try to test your code, like how it works exactly. Even in your IT industry also, once whatever the code developers they come up with, they themselves try to test their code. You come up with code for a specific feature, that means you should be having very clear picture about which statement what exactly it does. That's what, right? So that means internally what is going on, you should be having very clear picture. White box, if you take within that box what is there, you should be having very clear picture, you should be aware of, right? That is the reason this is the kind of testing you are considering it as like white box testing. Okay, so developers whatever the code they come up with, they themselves try to test their code. That means each and every line of code, line of instruction, they should be having very clear picture. That is the reason they are calling it a like white box testing. So here whatever the code they are coming up with, the structure of the code they are trying to validate. That is the reason white box testing, also you can consider it a like structural testing or opaque box testing or open box testing Also, you can consider it like glass box testing. Open box. Within a open box, what is there? It should be having clear picture. Exactly opaque box. Exactly glass box. So these all are nothing but like synonyms for your white box testing. So during white box testing, who will involve? Developers gets involved. And remember, sometimes you may be seeing like requirement for white box testers. That means what does it mean is like so they're especially looking for developers, not testers. Okay, so that is what you should be aware of. So with those requirements, you will come across very rare. You don't want to worry about that. You just look for like black box testers. Okay, so white box testing, once they come up with code, how many ways they will test is like again two ways. That is nothing but like unit testing and integration testing. Okay, so unit testing and integration testing. What do you mean by unit testing? Before that, how they start up with their development activities? Whole application, once they take that application, they will divide it into modules like module 1, module 2, module 3, like major modules. Those modules depends on the complexity of the application and depends on the complexity of the module. Like module A, 10 people; module B, 6 people; module C, 15 people. Like that, depends on the complexity of the module. The team, those features gets allocated themselves. Again module C, 15 people, so they will again subdivide this module into themselves. Okay, so submodule into sub modules into sub modules, like that. So many levels they will divide. Smallest independent component they will take and come up with code. Like exactly Gmail, if you take for Gmail, smallest component, what will come up with? Login. Okay, username, password, sign in button. So that is the component they will come up with. They will take and come up with code. This smallest independent component, what you will consider it as like unit. Okay, so they will come up with code for login, and once they come up with code, they themselves test their code whether it works according to end user requirements or not. So once they come up with the unit, they are testing themselves that unit, right? That is the reason you are considering it as like unit testing. Okay, so exactly like that. Forgot password, another unit. So another component, they'll come up with code for forgot password. Then again another unit like registration, they'll come up with code for registration, and they will test exactly composement, inbox, outbox, sent mail. Each and every component you will consider like one unit. For that unit they will come up with code and they will be testing. That is the reason you are considering it as like unit testing. Unit testing again divided into three subtypes. That is nothing but like execution testing, operations testing, and mutation testing. Okay, so execution testing, operations testing, and mutation testing. Before that, very small example, if you take let us assume you have to come up with sum of two numbers. How you come up with code in any of the programming language? So read A, read B, sum equal to A plus B, then display sum, print sum. This is the code you are coming up with. As I said, once you come up with code, you yourself have to retest, right? So how your code works? So you will be passing for A 3, for B 4. Sum equal to A plus B, 3 plus 4. Print sum. If your code is displaying 7, then your code is perfect, 100% perfect, right? So that is how once whatever the code it is, you come up with, you yourself try to test your code by passing sample data 3 and 4. What we will call it as like sample data in our normal life. But we are into testing industry, right? So we will call it a like test data. With respect to testing platform, what we will call this data is like test data. Very, very important. So whatever the application it is, whatever the functionality it is, you have to test means you should take some test data. Otherwise, you cannot test that feature. Okay. So with respect to IT industry, if you talk about like 3 and 4, this kind of sample data, you will consider it as like test data. And remember, test data, whatever you feel comfortable, you may take, or maybe like client specific. Test data usually for most of the applications, whatever you feel comfortable, you can take. Like Gmail. Gmail, you are validating. What are the data you want? You can take it up, right? But let us assume you want to validate transfer funds from one bank account to some another bank. If that is the case, you cannot take sample data. What you have to do? So banks, what they do is like some dummy accounts they will create and they will give it to you. With the help of those accounts, you can use. That means here what you are using at this perspective, client is providing you the test data. That is client specific data. At the time you will be using that data. So you don't want to worry whatever the case it is like. If it is generalized data, you can take whatever you feel comfortable. If it is client specific means you don't want to worry, client will provide you, that is the data, you can use it up, right? So that is nothing but like execution testing. So once you come up with code, you will be passing test data to that code and executing and trying validating like whether your code generates correct data or not, are functioning properly or not. That is what we will try to validate. That is nothing but like execution testing. So here you may come up with like subtypes. It's a little bit confusing of kind of stuff, but it's not like you cannot understand. But if you refer 2 3 times, you can understand very easily, even remember. Okay, don't get confused, try understanding. So execution testing again divided into 3 types. That is nothing but like conditional coverage, loops coverage, and program techniques testing. Conditional coverage, loops coverage, and program techniques testing. So before going these techniques, one important thing you have to remember like this one we don't get involved. So this is what we are discussing, white box testing. So developers gets involved, not we. Okay. So as a tester, we should be aware of how developers will test. But we are not aware of even that is also enough, absolutely no problem. Okay. And again it may be like your coding kind of stuff you will come across. But remember, this is what whatever you feel comfortable, how much is possible for you, try remember. But basics also I will be covering during your automation front, like VB script will come across, right? There I will be covering even basics also, so that you will get very clear picture. So as of now, only these 3 topics like execution testing, operations testing, sorry, not operations testing, even conditional coverage, loops coverage, and program techniques testing. This one, if you are from computers background, you can understand very easily. Even you are from non-computers background, you may understand but may feel little bit difficulty. If you feel difficulty, you don't want to worry, you'll be able to understand during your automation front. Okay. So conditional coverage, whether you are eligible for applying job or not. How you will validate? If your age is greater than 20, then only you will be eligible for applying the job. That is what you have to validate. How you will validate? Conditional statements you will come across in any of the programming language. Okay. So if a greater than b, let us suppose you have to find out biggest of two numbers. You have to find out biggest of two numbers. So at that time, how you will come up with code is like if else statement you will use. Here what will happen is like if condition gets true, it will get executed before else portion. If condition is false, it will go and execute after else portion. So before that, here you are having two branches of statements. One is before else, after else. So depends on the condition. one branch of statements it will get executed. Okay, one branch of statements it will get executed. So A 10, B 20 you are given. Okay, so is for 10 greater than 20, 10 greater than 20, is it true or false? True. 10 greater than 20, is it true? Is 10 greater than 20? False here. If it false, what will happen? Else person it will get executed, right? So actually what it should display? A is big. Actually the result it should display like B is big. But what it will display? A is big. Is it really correct? No, right? Okay, it's not correct. That means like you have given wrong statements. What happened is like uh okay, you are giving wrong statement. Okay, another thing, A you are giving 20, B you are giving 10 letters also. Then it will display correct result, right? Okay, here my point is like, let us suppose you have taken 10 for A, B 20. At this time what it was executing? Else person you should get execute and you should display B. But here what happened is like while copy pasted you were given, you forgot to change A to B, right? Okay, this is one point, but that is leave about it. Let us assume you were given for A 20, for B 10. At the time what it will display? A is big. One set of data you are taken and is displaying correct data. You leave about whatever I have told, but take for A 20, for B 10 letters also. So 20 greater than 10. Is it true or false? True. True means what it does? It will go and execute before else person. Okay. So A is display, it will display, that is good. So you have taken one set of data and is displaying fine. Is that your testing finished? What is my question here is like, is the testing finished? One set of data you have taken, but see what are the test data you have given like 20, 10. It helped you executing before else person, but how do you make sure like after else also is correct? You're not sure, right? At this point of time you have wrong statement. So here my point is like, in case you are using conditional statements in your program, you have to take test data in such a manner like each and every branch of statement should get execute at least once. Okay, then only you'll get realize, see, before else person and after else person you have two branches. These two branches should get execute at least once, should get execute at least once. In such a manner you have to take test data and execute, right? So that is nothing but like conditional coverage. The idea is very simple. In case if you are using conditional statements in his program, is those statements, those branches of statements at least once you have to execute. In such a manner you have to take test data and have to validate. So that is nothing but like your conditional coverage. And some programming language, if you go for loop statements, you may come across. Okay, loops, that means like same set of statements multiple times you have to execute until condition gets true or false. There you will come up with like loops. Okay, so those loops you have to execute means again here you want to display 1 to 100 letters also. So these are the I equal to 0, while I less than 100, I equal to I plus 1, print 1. I equal to 0. Remember during while statement While means when I less than 100, that is nothing but like condition. 0 less than 100 is true or false. Remember, you don't want to think too much. It's very simple. You read along with this statement. What is the meaning is giving? When I less than 20, that means when I equal to, when that condition true, it will go inside of the loop. While I less than 100, it will go inside of the statement and execute. While, that means if condition is false, it will come out of the loop. So 0 first. 0 less than 100, true or false? True. It will go inside of the loop. 0 plus 1, 1, print 1. 1 less than 100, true or false? True. So 1 plus 1, 2, print 2. 2 less than 100, true or false? True. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 99. 98 let us assume. So 98 less than 100, true or false? 98 less than 100, true. So 98 plus 1, 99, print 1, print 99. 99 less than 100, true or false? True. So 99 plus 1, 100, print 100. 100 less than 100 is false. While 100 less than 100 is not correct, right? It will come out of the loop. That's it. Very simple. Okay. So that is how your loop statements gets executed. Remember, during while combination, if result is condition is true, it will go inside of the loop. Condition is false, it will come out of the loop. That is what you can remember one way. Another way, you read the statement and understand that what is the meaning is given. Like that you can understand. Whatever way you feel comfortable, you can go for. But let us suppose by chance I forgot statement using I equal to I plus 1. I forgot. Given a statement like I equal to I plus 1. What will happen? It will go infinite loop, right? That increment you forget means it will never get terminate the statement. It will go infinite loop. If that is the case, computer is there, power is on, even your lifetime also it will never get terminated. If that is the situation, your code is wrong, right? So during loops coverage, what you will be doing, what developer will be testing is like, so whether your loop is like a finite loop or not. Your loop should get terminated after finite number of iterations. It should be finite loop. It should not be like infinite loop. So if it is finite loop means what are the different things you have to remember? You have to test whether you were used all conditions properly or not. And another thing you have to remember like whether you were used all conditions properly or not. Whether you were used all conditions properly or not, and increments you were used properly or not. Those two situations you have to validate. That is nothing but like loops coverage. The idea is very simple. In case developer using loops in his program, what he will be doing is like whether he used all conditions properly or not. On another point, you have to make sure whether he used all increments properly or not. That is what he is to make sure. So that is nothing but like loops coverage. Okay. Another thing, you want to display 1 to 100. Either while loop you can use, or another way you can use it like print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4. You have to go to India. There are so many routes, right? From US to India you have to go. There are so many routes available. You can go to China, China to India. You can go to France, France to India. You can go to London, London to India. Or you can direct flight, you can take direct flight even US to India. But which one is better in all this one? Direct flight, right? Exactly like that. One feature you have to implement in any of the programming language. There may be so many ways, so many logics. But among those logics, which one is best logic? That is what you have to use, right? So you have to display 1 to 100. You can use while statement, for statement, or do while statement, do until statement. There are so many logics, or print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4. Okay, but in all these logics, let us suppose these two logics, whatever I mentioned here, which logic is better one? print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4, print 5, print 6, print 7, like using print 100. Whether this one is correct or using while statement, which one is better? While statement, right? So that is what, while implementing any of the feature, you may come across so many logics, but your implemented best logic or not, that is what you have to make sure. Okay, so that is nothing but like your program techniques testing. That is nothing but program techniques testing. Okay, whether you are implemented best logic or not, that is nothing but like program techniques testing. Then operations testing, you are purchasing let us suppose Nokia mobile phone. Whatever the sim you want, you can use it up, right? AT&T or Verizon or Vodafone, Airtel, Aircel, whatever you feel comfortable, you can use. That is nothing but like operations testing. Okay, so you are using Internet Explorer. Okay, let us suppose you have Gmail. In any of the browser you can use, right? Like Internet Explorer, Opera, AOL, or Google Chrome or Mozilla. Wherever you want, you can use it up, right? That is nothing but like whatever the code you are coming up with, whatever the application you are coming up with, that application should work on all the operating systems. Something like that. Okay, that is nothing but like operations testing. Okay, whatever the code you are coming up with should work on multiple environments, multiple applicable environments. So that is nothing but like operations testing. Then mutation testing. In your mathematics during studies time, if you remember, like you will get this small statement V bar mass. V is nothing but like venture, bracket, of, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So what are the expression I have given here? Which operator it will get execute first? According to this logic, first it will go for like bracket, then division it will execute, then star. If it doesn't execute in that order, what will happen? Your result will be wrong. So that is nothing but like mutation testing. Mute is nothing but single character. In case you may get a chance to use very long expressions. So at that time, each and every operator developer used properly, and that is what you have to make sure. So that is what you have to make sure you should follow. See, in other programming language you will come across there are so many operators you will come up with, and even C language, if you go for precedence of rules or hierarchy of operators or something like that, will come up with which operator needs to be executed first. Okay, according to that, whether they were implemented or not, that is what you have to make sure. Okay, so this is nothing but like mutation testing. So whatever we discussed so far, that is nothing but like unit testing. Unit testing is nothing but independent component. Once you come up with code, you'll be testing. That is nothing but unit testing. Unit testing again you will test in uh, different ways: execution testing, operations testing, mutation testing. So execution testing is nothing but like conditional coverage, loops coverage, program techniques testing, operations testing, and mutation testing. This is nothing but your unit testing. So another thing is like integration testing. So before going integration testing, anybody having any questions? No questions? Okay. So uh, just a second. Okay. Let us suppose uh, Login is one module, registration is another module. Okay, login is taken care by X, registration is taken care by Y. Let us assume. Okay, so login is simple module, registration is little bit complex module. So login is taken care by X, registration is taken care by Y. So login module is already developed, but registration module is going to take 1 more month, let us assume. So login module is ready to test, but here my point is you are the first time user for that application, let us assume. So before using that application you have to register first, but for this application register module is under construction. Okay, register module is under construction. So that means what you have to do, you have to test login module, means you have to wait till registration gets completed. But for getting finishing that module, how much time is taking? 1 more month. So you have to wait 1 month. So is it good to wait? Okay, so are there any alternatives? Okay, instead of wasting 1 month of time, so do we have any alternatives? If we think like that, yeah, exactly, you have alternatives. So how is like, okay, during registration what exactly your application does, what you'll be doing exactly, you'll be filling up like username, password, first name, last name, middle name, like this, some fields you'll be filling up and clicking on submit button. As soon as you click on submit button, what exactly it does, that data will go and store into your database, right? So usually here registration is under construction. So what you can do is you can directly go to whatever the database you are using. There you can insert one record. So whatever the username and password you are using, that username and password you can use for login and you can carry on your testing activities, right? So normally registration what it does is like any of the application, it will connect to database and what are the details like in your username, Gmail, if you take username, password, first name, last name, middle name, you will fill up. These details are exactly in back in database it will get stored, but it is under construction. So what you can do is another way, you can go directly database and you can insert, you can give that details directly to that database and you can use that username and password for logging into your Gmail application. That is nothing but like your integration testing. Okay, so normally this is what developers will be using. Not only developers, testing team also you may come across really so many times. Okay, so when one module is ready, another module is under construction, but ready module depending on construction module, at that time you will be using some alternative approaches. So those are nothing but like that is nothing but like integration testing. Integration testing is nothing but like whenever two modules were integrated. Okay, so both of those modules were inter talking each other or not. Best example I will tell you like, as soon as you compose an email successfully, it will go and store into sent mail. Compose mail, send mail, both are different modules. But whenever both of those two modules were integrated, right? So if you successfully compose an email, it will go and store into send mail, whether that is working fine or not. As a tester, you will be testing that functionality. That is nothing but like integration testing. Okay. So integration testing again divided into two subtypes. That is nothing but like top-down approach, bottom-up approach. Top-down approach. Main module is ready, sub-module under construction. Okay. So this is what if you go for main module is ready, sub-module is under construction. But main module depends on sub-module. At that time, you go for passing temporary data like stub. Stub is nothing but like one alternative approach to pass data. How you can pass data is like, in our situation, registration is under construction. What you are doing? You are going to Oracle directly and you are passing the data. That is nothing but like stub. How many ways you can pass is like, Excel file also you will pass, XML also you can use, HTML file also you can use, text file, INI file. Okay, any file you can use for passing data temporarily. Okay, so that is nothing but like your stop. Okay, so main module is ready, sub module under construction, but main module depends on sub module. At that time, stub developer places. That is nothing but like top down approach. Then bottom up approach is completely opposite. Main module is ready. Sorry, main module is under construction, sub module is ready, but sub module depends on main module. At that time, developer what he does is like, he will try placing driver. Remember, both stub and driver are nothing but temporary programs. Only for differentiating purpose, they are using in top-down approach as stub, bottom-up approach as driver. But both are nothing but temporary programs. How they can pass data is like either Excel file or text file or INF file or database directly or XML file. Whatever way they feel comfortable, they can pass it. It's not like this feature you cannot understand, but it's like a little bit confusing. That's why I will tell you the shortcut key. So top down, top first, down second. First one is ready, second one under construction. First one depends on second one. Okay, that's how you can remember. Okay, top means main module is ready, down means sub module is under construction, but first one depends on second one. Then you can go for stop. Bottom, first one is ready, up main module is under construction. First one depends on second one. Bottom module depends on up module. That means driver he will be present. Like that, if whatever the way you feel comfortable to understand, you can go for. Okay. Okay. One application if you take, you may divide that application into so many levels, right? So like main module into sub module, sub module into sub module, sub module into sub module. Like this, so many levels you may divide. Sometimes you may come across situation like, okay, so both at a time you may use like stub and driver. If that is the case, if you use, that is nothing but like hybrid approach, you will call it as. Okay, that is approach means you'll be calling it like hybrid approach. So both stub and driver at the time you are using while testing. That is nothing but like hybrid approach. Okay, so this is nothing but like your white box testing. Testing is of very high level two types: white box testing and black box testing. White box testing, normally developers gets involved, so divided into two subtypes: unit testing and integration testing. Unit testing again divided into three types: execution testing, operations testing, mutation testing. Execution testing again divided into three types: conditional coverage, loops coverage, and program techniques testing. Then integration testing, whenever two modules were integrated, how they are working. In case if one module is depends on other module, how you will be passing test data, how you will be handling data. That is nothing but like integration testing. Any questions? Anybody? If you have no questions, means what we do is like, thank you so much for your time. We will end up our session. Tomorrow same time we'll meet up. Okay. Okay, that's me. Thanks for your time. See you. Bye. Have a good night.